Okay, hi everyone. Thank you for joining today's session. Okay, please make sure you please prepare a piece of paper and a pen for you to try out two different questions for today. Okay, so please get ready your material before I start. Okay, so here, hi Ariel. Make sure you get a paper. Once I'm ready, do let me know. Okay, you can respond to me via the chat box. It's fine. Okay, so please make sure you prep some papers. Okay, all done? Okay, great. Now, today we are going to work on questions that involve total unchanged. Now, during last lesson, we covered single unchanged. So for today, I'm going to cover total unchanged, and we are going to go through two different types of total unchanged questions. I'm going to show you what are some of the different ways that the question could be set. Okay, so moving forward, we're going to do two different questions. Now, first question over here. Let's take a read at this particular question. Now, the question mentioned that Sherry was reading a novel. After 4 days, the ratio of the numbers of pages read to the number of pages unread was 4:5. After reading another 48 pages, 1/5 of the novel was left unread. How many pages did the novel consist of? So these questions involve ratio, fractions, and whole number. So this is a very interesting question, and it consists of a few variables, okay? Now, I understand that when you're in lower primary, hi Ethan. Now, most of the times in lower primary, we do a lot of model drawing. Now, this question can be done with model drawing, but when you move on to upper primary, like a P5 and P6, I would recommend you to do the before change after table. It is much more easier to work with than model drawing. Okay, now like I say, there's nothing wrong with model drawing. It's just that I would say that when it comes to upper primary, table method will be much more, it's much easier and it's much more useful. Okay, hi, case the I'll just pause for a minute. Okay, hi, welcome for those who just joined. Today we're working on total unchanged, and we are going to work on two different questions. This is just on the first question. Okay, please get yourself a piece of paper and your calculators and stuff, and we're going to work on this particular one. Now, remember the concept of total unchanged is where there is no change to the final total. Okay, so it could be, this is two different scenarios. Number one, this is talking about reading a novel. Now, when you read a novel, it still belongs to the same book. So the total number of pages within a book is the same. So this is one type of the questions. Now, like I say, this question can be done with model drawing, but since you're already in upper primary, I would recommend you to do a table method. Now, how does the table work? Now, remember last lesson we learned before change after the BCA table? We are going to apply the same way. Okay, so let me draw out the table. Okay, so this is how we do. Now, like I said, nothing wrong with model. It's up to you. But if you draw models, do take note that there's a lot of boxes to cut and you got to be very mindful. Okay, so today we're going to use BCA method for this question. I'm going to show you how useful and how easy to apply BCA. Now, as you remember, B stands for before. What are the things before? What are the changes? And what happens after that? Now, you realize that I made into two columns. What do you think is the title or the heading for my two columns? Like, teacher, why do you have two columns? What should I put under my two columns? Any idea? We have the before, change, after. What is my two subject or the two variables I'm going to compare? Very good. Read and unread. Okay, so we have read, unread. Very good. And if you want, because we understand that the concept is total unchanged, you can also come up with one more column at the back that states total. Okay, you can also have one column at the back. So this way, I can also come up with one more as total. Okay, so let's read the first part. Now, this statement over here is before. When you read another 48 pages, this is the change. What happens to the changes? And this is what happens after. So we classify them into three main components. So let's look at the before. What should I put under read and unread? So if you read the question, the statement itself, they say after 4 days, the ratio of the pages, okay, keyword, read to the pages unread was 4:5. So this tells me that under my read, I should put what a bit value. Under my read, I should put as, they say read to the number of pages unread. So the keyword came first is read, then to unread. So the ratio follows the same way. First number applied for the first term. So read comes first. So read is 4, unread is 5. Is that very clear? Now remember, ratio is like it's simplification. Okay, it's something like a fraction. So numerator goes to the first term, denominator goes to the last term. So in this case, similar context, read is 4, unread is 5. So what forms the total? I have 4 as read, 5 is unread. So my total, 4 plus 5, 9. So this is the total for the before. Then we look at the second part. They say after reading another 48 pages. So when you read, the number of pages that you read, you increase. So I put plus 48. The number of pages that left unread will have to decrease this way. And what happens after that? They say 1/5 of the novel was left unread. Now, can anyone help me with this? What does that mean by 1/5 of the novel was left unread? So if I'm going to put down as a unit, what should I put under read and what should I put under unread? They say 1/5 of the novel was left unread. So 1/5 tells me that the 1 refers to what? Read or unread. Okay, they say 1/5. So 1 belongs to the 1 fraction, very good, unread. And 5 is the novel. Since 1 part is read, 1 part is left unread, 4 part must be read. So I put as 4. Now, do you realize that I change everything into units? I don't put fraction anymore. Okay, so you realize in my whole table, I don't do any more fraction. They are purely in units method. Now, if you're scared that you confuse yourself, you can also put it as unit if you want. Okay, the before and after are in units method. So this is unit. And my total is 5. Teacher, you say that this question is about total unchanged, right? Because when my read increase, my unread decrease, they are back to the same quantity. So these two must be equal. So we ask ourselves, 9 and 5, what is the common multiple? So what is the common multiple between 9 and 5? Max, what do you think is the common multiple of 9 and 5? Very good, Ariel. Very good. 9 and 5 common multiple is 45. So on each of the column, I want to change my total to become 45. So on the top row, okay, to make 9 to become 45, I have to multiply by 5. So everything along the same column, the same row, will have to multiply by 5. Whereas for the bottom, to make 5 become 45, I want to multiply by 9. So the whole row multiply by 9. Clear? Okay, so let's compare any one of them. You can either compare the read or the unread. It's fine. So look at the read. 4 times 5, I get 20 units. 4 times 9 is 36 units. So why is there a change from 20 units to become 36 units? What happened? If you look at it before, it used to be 20 units. But after, it became 36 units. So something must have happened during the concept, right? So 20 and 36, what is the difference in the number of units? Okay, look, they changed from 20 to become 36, meaning 36 unit take away 20 units is 16 units. This 16 units is the same as 48. It changes from 20 to become 36. They increase. So it stands for 48. So 1 unit will be 48 divided by 16 to get 3. Now, I now know what is the value for 1 unit. The question says, how many pages did the novel consist of? Now, the novel itself is equivalent to how many units? Okay, they asked for how many pages did the novel consist of. The novel itself has how many units? Okay, look at the table. Just look under total. We already classified them into read, unread, and total. So look at the total. It's stated as how many units. Okay, it's written there as 9 units times 5. That's form. Okay, under your total. Okay, let me highlight. This is the part. 9 times 5 is 45. So total is 45 units. All we need to do is to find the value for 45 units. We take 45 multiplied by 3 to get 135. So my answer will be 135 pages. Is everyone clear? Now, don't you realize that using a table structure is much faster and much easier than a model drawing? Like I say, nothing wrong with model drawing, but to draw it out in a model, it might be quite complicated, and you got to be very careful in the number of boxes you cut and stuff like this. And you can't really cut it into 45 boxes, right? When you cut it, it'll be too small. So we use a table structure to show what is happening throughout the whole questions. Okay? Any questions you would like to ask before we try the next one? Any question? Okay, great. Now, if you have no questions, let's move on to question 2. Now, for question 2, before I explain how we solve it, I need all of you to draw out the table for me. Okay, so let's take a look at question 2. Question 2 is a similar concept, but you realize that it phrased differently. Earlier on was about a novel, and we know that the pages does not change. Now, this is a separate type. They say, Ian had 75% as much money as Wendy. Ian then received $435 and Wendy spent $435. As a result, Ian had twice as much money as Wendy. How much did Ian had at first? Now, based on this question, I want all of you to remember my BCA table. I'm going to give you 1 minute to construct that table. You don't have to solve it, but just fill in the blanks for me. Okay? Your 1 minute starts now. Just fill up the table. Okay, so remember how the table look like. Okay, it always have the same few columns. Okay, if you're comparing total, just get yourself 3 columns. Okay, so this is how it look like. Now, I'm not going to fill in the numbers for you. I want all of you to fill in for me. I'm just leaving the titles for you. We have Ian, Wendy, and total. I want all of you to fill in the details based on the sentence. Like, think of the first thing. When they say 35%, teacher, this is percentage. What does 75% stand for? Anyone know what a 75%? If you want to put it into fraction, what will that mean? 75%. Very good, Faliha. That is 3/4. Okay, 75% is the same as 3/4. Now, if you're not too sure how we get it, it is because percentage is always expressed over 100. Reduce this to simplest form, you will get 3/4. Okay, so based on that, you see now we have changed from percentage to fraction. Now fill in the table. They say Ian had 3/4 as much money as Wendy. So what unit should I put for Ian? What unit should I put for Wendy? And what is their total? Then you talk about what happens to their changes and what happens in the end. Okay, so I'll give you 10 more seconds to fill in. Then I'm going to go through with you the steps. Okay, if you think you're done, let me know. Finish? Okay, it's not difficult, right? Okay, so good. Now, very good. Now let's read the table. So Ian, first name, so 3 goes to Ian. Denominator goes to the last term. So Ian, 3 units. Wendy, 4 units. Total, 7 units. We're just adding. Very simple work. Second part, they say Ian received. When you receive money, it is plus $435. Wendy spent, so minus 435. In the end, as a result, Ian had twice. So Ian is twice. So under Ian, put 2 units. As much as Wendy. So Wendy is just only 1 unit. Total between them, 3 units. Now, look at the total. Before say it is 7 units. After say it is 3 units. So what should I do now? One is 7, the other is 3. So I kind of need to make them the same, right? So 7, no, we can't minus, Faliha. We got to change them to the same total. The concept is there is no change to their total. Okay, there is no change to their total. So this total value must be the same. So let's think of 7 and 3 common multiple. Okay, very good. It's 21. So we're going to change the whole row. So the first row, to become 21, you got to multiply by 3. So I'm going to multiply by 3 for each of the component. No, Faliha, if it's Wendy give to Ian, then they have to say it. They have to specifically say that it is given to Ian. But spend means it's totally out of the pocket. It doesn't give it to Ian. Keyword to know, if it go to Ian, they will say Wendy transfer, Wendy gave to Ian. They have to specifically say that. Otherwise, it's not within the same total. It has been given away. Okay, so this is 9 units. This is 12 units. And to make 3 become 21, you multiply by 7. So everything multiplied by 7. You get 14 units. You get 7 units. Now let's observe the difference between them. So Ian, okay, so the question asks, how much did Ian had at first? So the key person they are comparing is Ian. So let's look at Ian at first. Ian used to be 9 units. After he received some money, he got a total of 14 units. So Faliha, very good. You notice that the difference between the unit is 5. 14 units take away 9 units is 5 units. So what does 5 units represent? 5 units will be the same value as 435 because he received that amount of money. But after they found the 5 units, look out for 1 unit. Change from, very good, change 435 divided by 5, you get $87. And they want to find at first. So how many units am I interested in? How many units should I be focusing? Very good, Xingyan. We look for 9 units because at first it's under the before. So 9 units, 87 multiplied by 9, okay, then we'll be able to get 783. So that's my answer. 783. That's it. So don't you find that this is much easier than my model drawing? It saves you a lot more time than trying to figure out a model that fits in all the details. So for upper primary, I don't recommend you to draw a model, but if you don't understand table and you want to draw a model, go ahead. But it would be best that you actually learn the table method. It is much easier to cope with. All you need to remember is, if the total remain unchanged, please make sure you find the common multiple for between the 2 units. And you change it in the whole column. And one important thing, I always notice that when the question asks for at first, some students make a careless mistake by finding for me 3 units only. Now, do not do that. If the question wants you to find for at first, always compare the units that the units that we change, not the initial 3 units. Okay, so this is one common mistake. Do not use back the original. Always use the one that you have changed. Okay, so this is what we learned today. It's called a BCA, before change after table. And these can be applied to all the different type of before and after question. This table, like last week, we learned single unchanged. We did the same thing. Today on the total unchanged, we did the same method. Yeah, so this can be applied to all the different type of before and after question. Okay, so moving forward, if you ever see questions that require constant difference or changing, they are all in the same table method. So the next 2 lessons on constant difference and all changing, we'll realize that we don't draw a model. It's all about the same table. Okay? Now, so this is what we learned for today's lesson. We covered the 2 types of question. Now, for those who have not joined our Telegram group, please do join us, because every week after the lessons, I will be posting some extra questions for your practice. So if you are keen to join, this is a free app. You can actually download the Telegram group, and you can join our TNOP live sharing group. I'll be posting questions on a weekly basis based on the same live sharing section that we have conducted today. Okay, so feel free to join us if you want, and I'll be posting the questions later on, and I'll post the solutions in a few days later, so you can check and ensure that you got the right concept. Okay? And the Telegram group, you can also ask any question that you would like to ask, any schoolwork, any questions that you face in school that you doesn't know how to solve. You can always post it in the Telegram group too. Okay? Now, any questions before I end off today's section? Anything that you're unsure, you would like me to explain again? Anything? No? Okay, excellent. Now, I hope that the question today, they said, is it too easy or too difficult? What do you think of the standard of today's question? Is it manageable? Was quite okay, right? I really think it's easy. Okay. But frankly speaking, for total unchanged, this is kind of the standard they will ask. Relatively okay, right? Okay. Yes, Faliha. And P6 syllables, you'll be learning speed. It's a new topic, and speed is a topic that even you go to Sec 1, yeah, still tested on the same thing. Okay, so you got to kind of know speed itself. It's about formula, just applying formula, and a lot of like logical thinking. It's not that difficult. They only have a fixed type of speed question that they can come out. So once you understand the different type and you can differentiate them, it's not that difficult. Okay? Now, if there's no other questions, we will end off today's sections, and I will see you guys next week. Okay? Bye. And do join us. I'll be posting more questions later on. Goodbye. Finally, how is it related to rate? It's similar. It uses a fixed formula. Okay, so they uses this formula to calculate like the speed, the time taken, and the distance. So once you understand how to apply the formula, it's mainly about applying formulas and knowing what to find. So it's kind of like you can just draw out what is happening and list down the component that you kind of need to find. I would say that speed is not difficult. Okay, some students might struggle with speed because they could not understand what is happening or what do they need to find. But if you kind of understand that, it's pretty straightforward and it's not difficult. So don't have to worry. Okay? Okay, so that's it. No problem. Okay, goodbye. Oh, okay, I'll check that for you. Okay, I'll make sure that I post it up. Okay, thank you.